little community in the TLV. I see many new faces, so just a quick outline of what we're all about. We are a community of independent makers, designers, product, non-technical people also that work independently or with other people without funding to make something that brings value to others. I'd like to thank Google for lending us this space, also giving us pizza and everything. Google Cloud asked me very politely if I can also say a few words. They offer credit for startups. So if you want credit from Google, please reach out and they'll give it to you. I can be the man in the middle. So today's speakers need no introduction. Both are serial, makers, bootstrappers, entrepreneurs. So we have Ben Lang and we have Ariel Finkelstein. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. I'm going to be interviewing Ariel. And just a little background on my connection to Ariel. I actually, when I was in high school, I was his intern. And so that was my first venture into the tech world. And so it's really nice to be back here. So to get started, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your background and what you do today?
Thanks. So first thing, thank you very much everyone for coming, especially this kind of a night for us Israelis. It's too much wind and also rain, so thanks. I'm a serial entrepreneur, company builder and investor. I'll tell you a little bit regarding my history. I started in enterprise sales, managed it for quite a lot of years. And in 2007 I opened up my first startup, Compile, which was one of the first SaaS companies here in Israel. At that point in time we had 4 companies, LifePerson, ClickTel, Compile, and Panaya. And it was a horrific time to open up that kind of a startup. And I also did almost all the mistakes possible at the beginning. And the main problem at that point in time, there was no one to help anyone else. So people didn't want to help, and the ones that did want to help didn't know anything about SaaS. And moving from enterprise into SaaS was horrific. So I promised to myself, the minute I have the time, I'll start giving back. And one of the things I've been doing in the past almost 10 years now, a bit more, is almost every morning I start with a different startup for half an hour, got my morning coffee, and helping other people. I'm also one of the founders of Microsoft Accelerator, if you know it. And until today, taking 1 or 2 different companies every class, really helping them. Very much believe here in Israel, it's very hard to live. High tech allows us to live well. And I help founders succeed with their companies in order to create more and more jobs. So that's what I do. In the past 5 years, I've been building companies in a way that I like, which means not investing in an early stage, but really building it together with founders, coming in as a co-founder with strong teams, building the companies into successful companies, investing in them, and also enjoying every second with them. Usually I take about 3 to 4 companies every year. Anything in online, only do online, SaaS, marketplaces, mobile, only companies that can generate money, and I can say how they can generate money. And in the past year, I'm very much involved, mainly into bootstrapping, and we'll talk about a little bit more, but currently I'm working on both building already, and also investing and buying bootstrap companies. The reason I'm doing it is I love bootstrapping. It's a whole different DNA of companies. It's not that I don't like venture. It's also very, very important, by the way, and we need it. But there's a very, very big gap today in the market that is not filled in the right way, both for early stage investors and for bootstrapping teams that want to succeed and build real bootstrap companies. I'm not talking about bootstrap projects that are great, but are not the kind of thing I'm into.
So what is bootstrapping?
Great. Okay, so maybe before I answer that, I'll talk a little bit regarding history. Okay, So today in high tech, and I'll talk also here in Israel, everyone knows. So when we opened up a company in the 90s or in 2000, and we took $1 million, maybe we could have gotten to a product, okay? The first thing I needed to do is take all this room, make it into a server room, okay? It cost me a lot of money in order to do any product that I wanted to do. And that's why exactly we needed the VC money almost in any company we opened, okay? It was horrific to do Bootstrap, very, very dangerous in all the different situations. From 2009, it became very, very simple to do Bootstrap companies in specific verticals, specific things. However, it didn't change. The majority of the founders, the majority of the startups are still taking the venture route, which is the incorrect sometimes for them. In the sense that if we look at what's really going on in the industry, we have about 1% of the startups that are relevant for venture, okay? When we look at an A round, we're looking for at least $100 million in ARR that this company can get to in between 5 to 7 years from the investment, okay? And majority of us just don't have that kind of company, and it's not bad. Our TAM is only $400 million, okay? And our ability to get to $10 million maybe in revenues is great, and we can do that. But it's irrelevant for a VC that already knows that he's going to get stuck between the 10 to 100, which majority of us do get with those kind of companies. And what we really look at is we have those 1%, and usually those 1% are companies that are enterprise sales, very deep technology, marketplaces that require those sums, and those companies need to be venture, need to raise from day one and build it in a venture way. Okay, in a second I'll talk about how it's done. But the Bootstrap ones, which are the other 99%, but over 90% of them in any case will not succeed, which is the hard fact. But the ones that do succeed, the majority of them today, you can look in Israel, you can see them. We have a graveyard of startups that are selling. They're from day one built into venture, which means that the founders raised and told their investors, okay, we're going to venture, we're going to raise a round. They spend the money like you spend in venture, which means that when I build a venture plan, I need to spend my money. I don't get to profitability, which I get to bootstrapping. And you get to a situation that those companies are dead. Okay, just walking dead companies. Okay, and there's not a lot to do with them. And the reason I'm talking here today, and what I'm also starting to talk, and I'll be doing it in 2019, is that a lot of the founders here, first thing, don't even think about it. Our industry is upside down. Don't even think about bootstrapping, or should it be bootstrapping right now, or should it be venture? And the ones that do think don't know exactly how to do it. How do I build a bootstrap company? Okay? And that's exactly what I would like to help with the industry today. And we're going to talk about it today, but I'm going to do a series of lectures and also being with friends that have done it in order to teach and help with this work. So bootstrapping, okay, so it's a DNA of a company, by the way, and founders. It's not easy, like any startup that you do, but it's a whole different DNA of a company. There's one word we care about when we bootstrap, which is profitability. Every shekel we spend, we want to have back every shekel we sample, and something from day one. We do not have a lot of time, and we're not allowed to do any mistakes. And it's not only about not having a venture, which is not the way to look at it. What we look is to build real businesses from day one. Okay? When I build businesses for venture, the main thing is to get to the next round, because I have all the time the understanding that if I'm not going to get to the A round, I'm not going to succeed. And then after the B and C, and that's how we run our businesses. We go on growth, and we need to grow as fast as possible by the means, and which makes a lot of sense, by the way, in the venture world. But when I build a bootstrap company, I build it for profitability, okay? And profitability starts with real value to my customer and really real businesses from day one. And it's a lot of fun to build that kind of thing, because you're much more into the real work, down to earth, working with your customers in order to get to profitability. And we'll talk about it.
Can you talk a little bit about why bootstrap companies fail?
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So how do I know, first thing, should I be a bootstrap company or not? And that's the first thing that I should ask myself, okay? Because if I should be venture, I should go to venture, okay? And I have to know that from day one. Majority of the founders don't even think about it, okay? So if I'm doing enterprise, if I'm doing deep technology, usually a lot of things in health and hardware, a lot of those kind of things, I should be doing venture. When I look at Bootstrap, it's first thing, do I want to do that kind of a startup? It's a kind of startup that what you look at is the path to profitability. Do I know how to get there? So I'll give you an example. So when I look at the path to profitability, usually no-touch sales is much more easy. So it's B2C and lower-end B2B, okay, companies that people come in and buy from me. It's building the right team for those kind of things. So if I do no-touch, the kind of team I like to see is a strong developer, a strong product guy that knows how to build that, and a strong organic traffic, a social traffic person that knows how to generate that kind of traffic that doesn't cost me money. Okay, in these kind of businesses, we have to have at least 50% of our business in Bootstrap has to be from organic and viral traffic. Okay, if we don't know how to generate, which is very, very hard usually, we're not going to be successful. Okay, if my traffic comes from paid, like Wix or those kind of companies, that's the venture gain usually. Okay, and majority of the founders don't even think about these kind of points from day one. Now, also one of the points which is important to touch is I have founders that are very strong in enterprise. They have already the Rolodex. They've done it. They built those systems. It's the second and third one, and they know how to get into the market very quickly. Okay, and they know how to do it sometimes even through services, which means that I still haven't developed everything, and I give those services, but they can be profitable for me. So again, it's the path to profitability that I care about, because there's different ways to build these kind of companies, and I'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, so when you want to build the right plan for yourselves, founders build the wrong plans. By the way, they build the plans. I'm just guessing the founders between you guys that raised money to venture build nice presentations and nice budget plans for the investors. We do those for ourselves, by the way. Okay, we're paying the price of shares from our company and give them to these kind of investors. We need to know that we can generate money out of it. So when you build a plan into venture, you have a plan usually, let's say, the seed, 18 months. In Israel, it's average of $1 million, and how to get in 12 months into the KPIs that will allow me to get my investment of the A round in the 6 months that I'm going to go out. In Bootstrap, it's a whole different plan. Okay, and in Bootstrap, I build a plan that is divided into 3. Okay, and I'm taking into consideration that I have already the idea. I developed initial product, and I'm starting to sell right now. Okay, but the 3 layers that I have to get to is break even, initial profitability, and profitability. I have to build a plan to see how do I get there. Okay, break even. Okay, break even usually it's on the initial team. Okay, that means that when we build a team. I'll give you an example. One of the teams that came to me were 5 developers. Shmona Matan guys, everything, but they're the same guys. They don't have the ability to build these kind of things. So within the team, I need to have the strengths to go into the go-to-market I'm going to go into. Okay, each and every one of the guys can really bring us to that profitability because we don't have a lot of money and we don't have a lot of time to get there. So when I build this kind of a plan to get to break even, what I look at is the team itself. Usually it's 2-3 different founders and additional freelancers that work with, and maybe an employee or 2. The average, again, it's just average. It's about $30,000 on a monthly basis that we need to spend, and that's initial profitability, which allows me to do the validation of my market and initial understanding of the go-to-market and initial sales learning curve that gets me to that stage. That's not good enough, okay, because I need to get to a real profitable business. That's what I'm looking for. In order to do that, I need to get to the initial profitability. Initial profitability takes the real team that I need, which usually I can't allow myself at the beginning, okay? And that team, with all the expenses on him, will allow me to get to the real profitability, okay, which I care about, which is dividends, okay. That team usually is a team that will cost me between $70,000 to $120,000, okay, on a monthly basis, okay. And if you write down all the guys that you need, with all the expenses that you need, you'll get to those numbers. Again, it really depends on what you're doing, what's the vertical, and where your guys from. Okay, I have companies in Eastern Europe. Of course, their expenses are much lower. Okay, and you can play with it. But in general, those are the numbers. And then from that point, you get already to the ability to build a profitable business. Okay, and that's what we're looking to get to. The main thing is people just don't plan for it. Like people that don't plan in venture, and that's why also majority of them don't get well into the A round, and they start to doing slices of more and more small rounds. Same thing in bootstrapping. People do not plan well. Both the team is the incorrect team. Both understanding of my real go-to market. Okay, should I be what's my real go-to market? And do not execute well on these phases because they don't even know them, okay? And if you know these phases, you build them correctly, you have your right KPIs, and you're looking on one thing, profitability. We leave a lot of money on the table, by the way, in bootstrapping. A lot of times we don't freaking care about the big chunks or the growth, and we know that we're not doing a lot of different things in order to get to profitability, because that profitability allows me to build the real team that I need, which I don't have the money right now for. And those are several different mistakes that we see quite a lot in these kind of companies.
So let's say you have an idea. When do you decide to go full force and really take it to the next stage?
Okay, so when you look at ideas and you look at a team, you have to see that you have the right plan with the right team, and it's not only about ideas, because ideas everyone has. That's not the problem. The real problem is execution of those ideas, and in Bootstrap we have a much bigger problem. We're not allowed to do mistakes, which is ouch. And in order to go out to the idea, we have to validate. One of the main things a lot of founders, both in venture and in Bootstrap, just in Bootstrap, are not allowed to do that, launch too late, okay? And in order to go out, I go out, I talk to my customers, even in no-touch sales, by the way. Even in the cases that I sell to B2C, I start selling from day one, and I start selling to each and every one of the different people that I talk to offline, and then I take it to the online. I'll give you an example. So you think that the RP should be $9. Who freaking cares? Okay, it's $9, or it's $12, or it's $20. I go out and I validate. I need a product that someone will come and pay for it and will stay with me, okay? And the main thing for me, in order to get to profitability, is to do it in the right way. What do I mean in the right way? If I'm selling no-touch sales, I want to sell in ARR. I don't annual recurrent revenue. I do not want to sell MRR if I can. Majority of the cases, by the way, you can sell ARR from day one, by the way, and that means that instead of doing the $9, okay, I'm doing the $100 right now, okay, and that's a very big chunk of money for me from day one. Same thing if I have an inside sales, which I do by myself at that point of time. One of the main mistakes that I see from day one, people give POCs for free. Sales is give and take. People don't understand. A lot of the founders in these teams, by the way, do a lot of mistakes that they think that I can give free POCs. We don't have that. If I give you a POC, it has to be very time limited, especially in my first customer, okay? And I'm getting from it ability to sell to other customers, okay? If it's a testimonial, if it's a case study, if it's a video testimonial, I don't freaking care, but that's going to give me to my second customer. And the next thing, I don't do any more POCs, and if I do them, it's a very short time frame, and I don't sell them as one deal. One of the main things, I do 13, let's say I give a 1 month POC, it's not a POC. You buy from me 13 months, okay? And in the first month, you have money back guarantee. If you're not, you can leave it within that month. But I do not do a POC and then I come back to the table and I have a very long sales life cycle, okay? I do not have the time for that, okay? So initial validation of those kind of things Is there money, is there value in my idea from day one, okay? And my idea, I'm talking about not about the idea, but the application of the idea itself into the real money, because you can do a lot of different things. Usually I have a product that I'm thinking about, but there's a lot of different things within that product. What I want to take is that part of that product that can generate profitability in the fastest way for me, in a sense that I can penetrate the account, my customer, okay, whoever the persona is that I want to penetrate, very swiftly, close the deal, implement, get to ROI, and have him stay with me and have as low churn as possible.
So how do you decide when to move on from an idea or project?
Okay, so one of those things in Bootstrap, as I said, we don't have a lot of time, and I'll give you a little bit averages in my companies, the way I look at it also. So the way I like to see it is in a 6-month period, in a sense that from the minute that I have that initial product that I want to go out with, I have 6 months to get to the break even, okay? And if I do not see that I'm able to get there, usually there will be very, very good reasons. Now, in majority of the cases, the reason will be that it's bullshit and it's not working, okay? But there are cases that it's not. We just decided on the wrong cases. So in Bootstrap, our ability to do shifts within our go-to-market is something that is very quickly, because we're a very small team and we know what's going on. But we have to do it on a daily basis. We're really running and doing a lot of different changes. We take those risks also, especially in the beginning. So if we get to a situation that I know my entire funnel, okay, one of the main things that I see also in the companies, I don't care if it's in Excel. I know my entire funnel from beginning till the end, and I see each and every one of the different steps, and I have very good definition of those steps, okay? From MQL, SQL, if I have sales, okay, so a demo sales call, and then implementation, blah, 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 I don't care, closed one, and then afterwards the success manager. I have all those things together with my initial part of it of inbound and outbound, seeing where the traffic sources and how do they behave, okay? And I look at all those things, and I look at 3 things that I care about. $, okay, in each and one of them, how much does it cost me and how much am I doing? Time. How much time does it take from each and every one of the different steps, and conversion from each and every one of the steps. And your ability to see straight away, both in no-touch sales and in instant sales, the issues in each and every one of these steps, it's very quickly you'll see them. But you have to have those numbers in front of you. The majority of the guys don't have it, and that's coming back to your question, they don't see it in a good time. Okay, so they don't do the shifts, and they get to a situation that you get bankrupt very quickly. If you do have that, you do the shifts, you understand what's going on, you are on the calls by yourself, by the way, all the time, and you see exactly what's going on. And calls, by the way, I call customers also on no touch. I don't leave them alone. I talk to them. I don't care. You bought from me, why the fuck are you staying with me? I want to understand. Why are you not leaving me, okay? Also the guys that are that didn't buy from me, I want to understand each and every one of them. You have to talk to your customers, especially in these phases. And if you do have that fun, if you do the right ways, and you're really monitoring and doing the different shifts that you're supposed to do, it's either working or not. And if it's not working, within those 6 months, I'll know, and I'll just ditch it and move to the other idea, and that's it. We just don't have time for things that don't generate money.
So a lot of bootstrap companies end up actually raising money at a certain point. What are your thoughts on that?
Great. So first thing, maybe a little bit regarding definition of bootstrapping. I had a call with 2 guys, very nice guys. They are right now at $12,000 MRR, build it by themselves, doesn't matter, and they're in the States. And they contacted me to raise $100,000. But they said, listen, we don't really understand, are we bootstrapping or not? And the answer for that, majority of the startups that I'm seeing in bootstrapping did raise money. 50,000, 100, 300, I don't care, but some kind of amount. It's not about raising that sum. It's about how you build that plan. Okay, because when I build a plan for venture, that money has to get off the table as quick as possible. Even when I raised the A round and I raised $10 million, I'll spend it in 18 months. In Bootstrap, when I build the plan, break even, initial profitability and profitability, I need to know that I get to the initial profitability. If I know from my plan that I can get to initial profitability, but I'm just missing $100,000, that means that I'm looking at it as the last money that I'm putting into my company and I get from there to profitability. Afterwards, I can do whatever I want. But we're in venture, every CEO founder is at any point of time with a nice knife on his neck like this, and he's thinking, okay, what am I going to do with the next round? That's how it works, okay? We're all the time running from one investment to that. We're wasting our time on that, okay? But that's how it works, and it's okay. In Bootstrap, when we raise that money, we have to know, and you have to know as founders, that that's the last money, and you need to be convinced that it gets you to the initial profitability. Because from that moment on, you're okay. You can do your decisions. The outcomes, okay, so on that kind of stages is okay, as long as you're very open with your investors, okay, we're a bootstrap company, we do dividends, which by the way, for a lot of the early stage investors, it's something that you'll love, okay, just be very transparent about it. We want to give you dividends. We don't want you to wait 10, 12 years for an exit. Hey, we want to, in 3 years, to get to profitability and start giving dividends out, great. But if you're not transparent, if that's not your plan, you don't build it correctly, no way you'll be able to do that. Second point, great, I built that phase, I know how to get there, but usually when we get to profitabilities, there's also 3 different outcomes. Okay, that's something that a lot of founders don't really know. So when we get to that profitability, and usually it's between 24 months to 36 months that is real profitability. And when I say profitability, at least 40% net profit. That's the numbers we like to see. Okay, and at that point of time, usually what happens, we're growing nicely. We've not don't do the 3x. As venture usually like, and we don't really care about that kind of growth. We do care about growth and much more of the profitability. But at that point in time, we have 3 different options. One is to start giving dividends, okay, continue that kind of company. 2, we start getting offers of M&A, okay, from large corporate usually, or private equity, really depending on the stage. Those kind of guys get you when you're about the $5 million ALR. Okay, and the third, we get to a situation that we are not giving maybe the dividends. We are not only the M&A, but in the venture, in the private equity, we're doing deals of secondary together with money into the company. So I'll give you an example. So a company of mine that took about $15 million. Out of it, $5 million into the company and $10 million to the founders. Okay, and you can build much stronger and build stronger companies from it. And at that point in time was higher AR, but it gives you a lot of situation that you can build those companies to much larger companies. I'm guessing you guys read about a lot of bootstrap companies in the States. Well, not a lot, but bootstrap companies in the States that got to the unicorn level. There are those kind of guys, okay? But usually in those kind of situations, the founders at some point of time got to a quiet place. If the founder is not in that quiet place, if you don't give, either we give dividends and we have enough and we're really growing fast, but majority of the cases, by the way, we do take that private equity money, both for the company and for the founders. It's harder, but it's already money that you're taking it as a very strong situation. It's not like the VC money. So it's a whole different situation for us.
So you invest in bootstrap startups. What do you look for?
Okay, so first thing, as I said also before, I'm much more about building it. The investment is part of it because we sometimes need it, and I'm very much keen on the building part of it. And part of the building is seeing what are we missing. There's a lot of situations that we are missing those gaps. And what I'm looking for today is no-touch sales startups with teams that are very strong, both in product and organic traffic capability. Has to be within those kind of teams. I'm looking for interesting ARPU within the product that I'm selling. Not something which is on the idea level. I'm looking for guys that are already between 5 to 15,000 MLR, already selling, have initial traction, and are looking and need the ability to get to profitability. And that's what I'm looking for. Another point is, that's that third dream, because one of the main things, by the way, a lot of times you discover that it's not what you want to do. Okay, and it's okay. What I do is bootstrap, and the founders that want to go in the venture world, I want them to go there, because if that's what you want to do, so it's very, very, for me, the way I look at it is I'll never go against the founder, and I want to do it in the way, because every founder has a lot of challenges, is taking a lot of risks, and you have to like it and know that that's what you want to do.
So what are the laws of bootstrapping?
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm going to do in the coming year. And by the way, any one of you that is interested in Bootstrap, what we're going to do this year, I'm going to give lectures about every month and a half, and it's going to be in a meetup. And so if you want to be on the list, you can just, my name is Ariel Finkelstein, and you can just connect to me on LinkedIn, and it will be distributed to everyone. I'll add it just to your email. And in those meetings, we go step by step on each and every one of the different phases, okay? I can't answer everything in those ones, but what I will answer is how to initially decide, do I want to be a bootstrap company or not? Afterwards, how do I get to a situation that I can build correctly my plan, which I have to build that plan before. It has to be realistic, okay? Even when you look, I don't know if you know, like Christoph from Point 9 Venture, he built the Excel, how to look at the numbers from how to get to the $100 million in ARR, okay? So in enterprise, it could be like 10 companies that are paying me $10 million, but when I'm in up, when I'm selling no-touch sales, I need 100,000 paying customers that are paying me at least, okay, not at least, but in an average, okay, $1,000, and then I get to those numbers. So the same thing we do in Bootstrap. I need to do my plan. If I need to know my output, if I'm doing no touch, or if I'm doing inside, usually it's ACV, whatever we call it. And I need to see that I can get to those things, it's realistic, okay? And then I start executing on those kind of things. And what we'll talk about in these kind of lectures is exactly these points. The main thing is a lot of the guys know how to start doing the product market fit. Majority of the stuff is sales learning curve. How do I do the sales learning curve? Especially within the Bootstrap limitations, okay? We don't have a lot of time. We have many, many hats, okay? You're the cleaner, you're the CFO, you're the sales guy, you're the marketing guy, and how the heck do I do all that together with getting to the KPIs that I need to get to? And those are exactly the kind of things that will go step by step till profitability, and that's exactly my aim within this year to do the lectures, and you're all invited. So it's mainly focused for founders that want to bootstrap, so hopefully it will help everyone.
So last question before Q&A. Do you have any advice for aspiring bootstrappers?
Think well before you start. It doesn't matter what you do in life. And I can tell you, before I even got into building companies and everything, I went to my wife and got approval. It's a hard life. It's not easy. I have 4 kids, a great wife that's really helped me in all the different years. And I think that one of the main things, you have to come with focus. Very, very clear focus. One of the things that you see in the successful bootstrappers, they're focused, okay? And both, also in venture, but in venture, you have a lot of startups, even very, very strong guys, that do mistakes. I'll give you examples. One of my startups, needed to move into enterprise. Our mid-level was working very, very nice. We were selling over $10 million already. But in order to get to the $100 million and get to that phase, we had to move into enterprise. And it took the founder time to understand that. So between the $10 to $20 million, he didn't move fast enough in order to do that, and it harmed us on the next round. Okay? But that kind of mistake is something that he can do, and in venture works. In Bootstrap, if you're not focused 100% every day, what you look up there is profitability. How do I make the next shekel that allows me to grow? And you do mistakes like a company comes to me and says, listen, Ariel, we'll give you $100,000 right now. Just develop for us this and this and this. And if you do the calculation, I need to spend right now $150. I'm never going to be profitable in it. It'll be just those kind of things. It will never get me to the next phase. A lot of the founders do those kind of mistakes, okay? I only care about profitability. I'll give an example for that point. So in Alpo, a company that came to me several years back, they were buying traffic. And their ARPU was, I think, about $110 on an annual basis. Their lifetime was about $400, okay? They were buying lifetime. We don't do that. Okay, in Bootstrap, we buy output level in the same year. I need to be profitable. So if I make from a customer $110 this year, and he pays me right now, right? It's ARR. What I'm able to buy, what I'm willing to buy, is anything below the 110. Okay, and taking also into consideration my expenses there. Okay, I'm not willing to buy for more than that, and that's one of the things that companies that are venture backed don't really care about, because at the end of the day, they need to grow. They need to grow their business, and then they will be profitable about it, okay, at one point of time. But they need to grow, and that's how it works. For us, I need to be profitable today in order to grow. And if you're not focused, and that's something which is very, very critical, you're going to lose your business very, very quickly.
Does anyone have any questions?
What about a hybrid approach where you build your own product with your own money, and then at some point when you feel like you're ready to scale, you raise money?
Okay, so that's not bootstrapping. That's one of the main things that we expect today in venture. Okay, so as an investor in these kind of things, early stage, majority of the companies that come to us today need to bootstrap to that point. Okay, we're not looking to get to a nice presentation. We're not interested in ideas usually. Only very, very specific cases. Okay, in majority of the cases, in the 80-90% of the cases, we're looking for guys that really bootstrap or come to us with a product, already even selling sometimes, and that's it. So, and it's okay. But that's not hybrid. That's not hybrid. That's what is going on for the past 7 years already. Okay. So for the definition of Bootstrap, is a company that gets to profitability, okay, from bootstrapping.
But at what point does it make sense to consider?
Okay, so you get to venture when in bootstrapping. If I did all this route, okay, and this is what I decided on. What happens is there's 3 different scenarios. One, it doesn't work, okay, and as we said, within the 6 months, I just ditch it, okay. Second, it's so-so. And in so-so, what happens usually, we have 2 different decisions. One, the founders decide, okay, we're not going to continue this way. We're going to ditch all the freelancers, all the employees, whatever it is, and we're going to make the money that it can generate for us and live with it for whatever it is. Or it's good enough, it's interesting enough, usually you'll get to that situation of the graveyard. Today the graveyard is between the seed and A, and there are interesting companies, and there are also very specific investors, okay, that are looking for those kind of interesting companies, and those are venture companies, and you'll go to venture at that point of time. You didn't succeed, it's doing so-so, but it is interesting enough, and maybe it's going to get into the venture. But the good scenario, you never get to that situation, okay? You either give dividends and become a millionaire from that as a founder, okay? Or you'll be selling your company in a nice sum, or you take private equity money and build a big company out of it.
How do dividends work?
Okay, that's one of the things when we will talk about that in the coming year. At the end of the day, really depending on the different country you're in. Here in Israel, we need to wait 2 years of profitability in order to start giving the dividends. But from that point of time, we can distribute, and really depends on each and every one different teams. You can build it in different ways, quarterly, year, really depending. In average, that's why I said it's about 3 years until you get there.
Let's say there are two companies, same vertical, same sort of product. So one company that is bootstrap, probably one is funded, one is not. So the funded one probably is more probably faster. And sometimes when you're first mover to the market, it's pretty easy to create a brand, the reputation, and all that. Maybe the bootstrap would be far behind and get it.
Great question. Okay, so first thing, a lot of these points, as I said in the beginning, you'll need to do that decision, okay? And I trust each and every one of you. If you're a founder and you open up a company, you decide, okay, what kind of company you want to do. But in that kind of psychology, usually, okay, when we go into building a company with the DNA of bootstrapping, okay, and that's where our decision, and it makes sense also, okay? It's not only that. A lot of founders will do also the mistake of not taking venture. If this is the kind of company that should have taken a venture, it is a mistake. But there are companies that shouldn't or could not take and decide. And if that's the kind of scenario, the founders that are building those companies know how to grow them, even in these kind of markets, because you're profitable. Okay, and usually when you say profit, average of 40% net profit on your business, and your ability to grow there is strong. Okay, and you have that, and you're not running after growth. That's not what you're running after. Okay, so I have competition. Great. Usually there's a huge enough market for us. Okay, and there are markets that are good. So my TAM is only $400 million. No venture will put money into those kind of things. In any case, but still, in $400 million, you can do $5 to $10 million and 40% on it, and it's only me and my partner, owning 100% of the company. That's good enough for me, okay? And that's exactly what you look in these kind of things. But again, you have to use your sechel in order to understand in each and every one of those situations what to do.
How do you decide on valuation when you invest in startups?
Sorry?
How do you decide on valuation when you invest in startups?
Great question. Okay, so it really depends on these kind of things. First thing, how do you, the things that I'm looking for in those kind of teams, and the situation that they are, what stage they're already into those companies. From it, it's also taking into calculation how much money do I need, because usually the more money I need, the more risk that I have, because the gap that I have, okay, in between. So each and every, we go by the risks that we're taking within those different gaps. However, one of the main things when we open up and we want to do Bootstrap, we're looking to own the company, okay, as founders. I want founders to own the company, and feel that they're owning. I'm not coming in to take anything and just really build it together with them, okay? Second point is, and coming in the same, we do everything is common. Same thing like the founders know rights or whatever different from founders, okay? No preferred or those kind of things. Very, very simple, like a co-founder coming in and just with the money into it also. So again, valuation really depends on these kind of different factors within it. Really depending. Between the 10 to 30% usually, those are in average. I would say that again, if the founders don't have a majority in the company, I'm not interested. I'll give you an example. If it's a company that already got an investment of venture, I won't come in. It's a company usually that took also government money, usually I won't come in, really depending on what kind of government money that is. There's different, again, in different countries. So what I'm looking for is founders that can manage and really become millionaires within 3 years. And if not, then if not, I'm not interested.
Thank you for speaking to us. You mentioned a few times that day one is when you should be starting to get company. But what if what you're making is going to take a few months to complete the contract?
Okay, great. So what I mean is, again, from day one, the minute I launch my product, okay, till then I have the gap there of my idea, my team, and starting to validate with the market and develop whatever it is. Usually, that's exactly the bootstrap. That's the money we put in by ourselves and our work. If we don't have that, a lot of the guys do it on when they're still working, and it happens quite a bit, by the way. I'm still working someplace. I have a co-founder. We were still both working. We just developed. We have the idea, blah blah blah. And then the minute I'm ready to go out to the market, that's the stage I fully invest myself into. And if you're not fully invested into it, I'm not really interested. Whoever doesn't have the kahunas to take the risk is not relevant to do bootstrap or some venture. I like people that are 100% committed into taking the risk. And that's why I said it's hard, and you have to be sure that's what you want to do. Other questions? Okay. Was this helpful for you guys? Okay, so thank you very much.
So let's thank Ariel again. Okay, so, a few words in Hebrew. I'm sorry for the English speakers. Okay. So I hate the mic. אז בגדול, אם מעניין אתכם אירועים כאלה, שבדרך כלל אנחנו מראיינים יזמים, אבל אריאל ובן שהם עשו כל כך הכל מהכל, משקיעים, יזמים בעצמם, כל כך הרבה שנים בקהילה, וזה גם כיף לראות שאנשים כמו אריאל, פתאום, אני לא הייתי חשוף לזה שאנשים כמו אריאל כן מעניין אותם בוטסטראפ, שהם כן מחשבים אותנו כמשהו. כשאני דיברתי עם VCs, הם די כזה, עוד אחד מהבוטסטראפים האלה, כן? זה היה, לי, זה היה הטייק שלי על הדברים. עכשיו, כמו שאריאל אמר, בחודשים הקרובים הוא הולך להקים קהילה של בוטסטראפרים. כמובן, תפנו אליו, אני ממש, אני הלכתי איתו בפגישה, הוא מדהים. יש לו המון מה לתת, אני בטוח. דבר שני, אם אתם רוצים להיות חלק מהקהילה שלנו ולתת כתף, אנחנו עושים את זה בהתנדבות כמובן, ואנחנו נשמח לקבל כל עזרה מכולם. אז שוב, המון תודה לכם שבאתם בגשם. דבר קטן אחד אני רוצה להגיד, שיש אירוע של משקיעים בעולם הגדול למעלה, ולנו יש יותר אנשים, אנחנו פאקינג ניצחנו. אז תודה רבה.